Welcome to TruthQuest, where we explore the lives of the world's greatest thinkers and creators. Today, we're diving into the remarkable story of Leonardo da Vinci, a man whose curiosity and creativity knew no bounds. From his iconic masterpieces like the Mona Lisa to his groundbreaking scientific studies and visionary engineering designs, Leonardo's genius transcended the limits of his time. Join us as we uncover how his relentless pursuit of knowledge shaped both art and science, leaving a legacy that continues to inspire innovation and wonder centuries later. The Mona Lisa might not hold its title as the most famous painting in the world today if Leonardo da Vinci hadn't mastered the study of human anatomy. To capture the mysterious smile of the woman in the painting, Leonardo took the extraordinary step of dissecting human bodies. He peeled back the layers of the face, carefully studying every nerve that controlled muscle movement. Following the advice of Renaissance polymath Leon Battista Alberti, Leonardo approached the human body from the inside out. He first imagined the skeleton, then layered on the muscles and skin, and finally envisioned the clothing. This deep understanding of science informed his art to such an extent that when Leonardo sought employment with Ludovico Sforza, the ruler of Milan, he highlighted his engineering expertise, boasting about his ability to design bridges, cannons, and tanks. It was almost as an afterthought that he mentioned he could paint. More than just an artist, Leonardo was also a scientist and an engineer, driven by an insatiable curiosity. In his thousands of pages of notes, he even wrote odd observations like, "Describe the tongue of the woodpecker." This relentless thirst for knowledge drove Leonardo to explore, invent, and create in ways no one had done before, or has since. Early life and education. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15, 1452, in a small village called Anciano near Vinci, Italy. He was the illegitimate son of Ser Piero, a wealthy notary, and Caterina, a local peasant woman. According to Walter Isaacson, who wrote a comprehensive biography of Leonardo, being born out of wedlock turned out to be advantageous for him. Had he been born legitimate, Leonardo might have been expected to follow in his father's footsteps and become a notary, a profession ill-suited to his endlessly creative mind. In his early years, Leonardo lived with his mother and later, with his paternal grandparents, while his father worked in Florence. When Leonardo's stepmother passed away, he moved to Florence to live with his father at the age of 12. This was a pivotal time in his life, as Florence was a thriving hub of art and culture. However, because he was born out of wedlock, Leonardo was not sent to a traditional Latin school. Instead, he attended an abacus school, where he learned practical mathematics for commerce, though he struggled with Latin for most of his life. He preferred writing in Italian and often wrote from right to left, using mirror writing to prevent smudging since he was left-handed. Additionally, he had the peculiar habit of writing each letter backward. Despite criticism from those who valued classical education, Leonardo dismissed their opinions, saying, "Foolish folk. Though I cannot quote from authors as they do, I shall rely on a far more worthy thing, on experience." Apprenticeship. Under Verrocchio. At the age of 14, Leonardo began an apprenticeship with the renowned artist Andrea del Verrocchio, a relationship his father had arranged. In Verrocchio's workshop, Leonardo studied many aspects of art, including sculpture. One of his early studies was Verrocchio's sculpture of David, in which Leonardo paid close attention to the lifelike depiction of veins and muscles that conveyed subtle motion. This focus on realistic anatomy later became evident in his famous painting, The Last Supper, where the apostles react emotionally to Jesus' announcement that one of them would betray him. Leonardo used movement and gestures to bring the figures to life, while Judas, cloaked in shadow and clutching a bag of silver, subtly leaned away to reveal his guilt. Leonardo's talents quickly began to outshine those of his teacher. In Tobias and the Angel, a painting from Verrocchio's workshop, it is believed that Leonardo painted the gleaming fish, which contrasts sharply with the duller depiction by another artist, Antonio del Palaiuolo. Similarly, the prancing dog at the bottom of the painting, which is full of life and movement, is considered to be Leonardo's work. His skills soon surpassed even Verrocchio's. In the Baptism of Christ, for example, Leonardo painted the angel on the left, which displays more dynamism than Verrocchio's more rigid angel on the right. Using a technique known as sfumato, Leonardo softly blended tones around the angel's jawline, while Verrocchio's edges remained sharper and more defined. After years of learning, Leonardo opened his own workshop in 1477, though success was slow to follow. He found himself struggling to secure commissions, and several of his projects remained unfinished, a tendency that would become a hallmark of his career. Despite his frustrations, Leonardo surrounded himself with a group of talented and attractive young men, one of whom was Gian Giacomo Caprati, better known as Salai, meaning little devil, because of his mischievous behavior. Many believe that Leonardo and Salai shared a romantic relationship. Still, after 5 years of struggle and incomplete projects, Leonardo found his big break. Milan and the Vitruvian Man. In the late 1480s, Lorenzo de' Medici, the ruler of Florence, sent Leonardo on a diplomatic mission to Milan, offering a lyre, a musical instrument that Leonardo had mastered, as a gift to Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan. Leonardo seized the opportunity to present himself as an engineer, and in a famous letter, he outlined his expertise in designing everything from military machines to bridges. The Duke, impressed by Leonardo's talents, hired him, and for the next 17 years, Leonardo lived and worked in Milan. During his time there, Leonardo contributed to numerous architectural projects, including advising on the central dome of the Milan Cathedral, one of the largest Gothic cathedrals in Europe. Though his design was not chosen, Leonardo's deep understanding of proportion and symmetry became immortalized in his Vitruvian Man, a perfect fusion of art and science. The drawing was inspired by the Roman architect Vitruvius, who detailed the ideal proportions of the human body. For instance, he described how the length of the foot is 1/6 of the height of the body. Vitruvius also noted that the human navel was the central point of the body and that a circle could be drawn around the figure with arms and legs outstretched, while the height and arms span together formed a perfect square. While other artists had depicted this idea, Leonardo's Vitruvian Man stood out for its balance between scientific precision and artistic elegance. Anatomical studies and dissections. Leonardo's fascination with human anatomy deepened throughout his career. He conducted dissections on around 30 human corpses, producing groundbreaking studies of the body. One of his most notable anatomical renderings is a skull drawing, where he depicted the internal structure by showing the left half sawn off, marking the first accurate depiction of the frontal sinus located behind the eyebrows. His observations extended to other parts of the body, including his famous studies of the heart. Leonardo illustrated how the heart is a muscle, discovered that arteries harden with age, and described how swirling currents of blood in the aorta helped heart valves close properly. Leonardo's deep interest in swirling motions led him to study not only human blood flow but also water. In his deluge drawings, Leonardo depicted apocalyptic scenes of nature's destructive power. To him, water was a force that needed to be controlled. He proposed plans to divert the Arno River to cut off Florence's rival, Pisa, from the sea by constructing dams, even designing a machine capable of moving 1 million tons of earth to achieve this goal. Engineering, flying machines, and military contributions. Leonardo's inventive mind stretched far beyond anatomy and water. He was also captivated by the idea of flight, spending decades observing birds and how they flew. He made detailed notes on their wing movements, including observations like, "There are some birds that move their wings more swiftly when they lower them than when they raise them." He sketched designs for a flying machine, known as an ornithopter, and even conceptualized a helicopter-like device called the aerial screw, though 15th-century technology was not advanced enough to bring his designs to life. Though many of his inventions were ahead of their time, Leonardo's skills in map-making had immediate practical applications. In 1502, at the age of 50, he became the chief military architect and engineer for Cesare Borgia, the son of Pope Alexander VI. One of his most significant contributions was the creation of an exceptionally accurate map of Imola, a key city in Borgia's military campaign. At a time when maps were often inaccurate and symbolic, Leonardo used a magnetic compass to ensure his map was both precise and functional. This innovation revolutionized military strategy and marked the beginning of modern cartography. Before his time with Borgia, Leonardo's military engineering talents had often been overlooked. However, he found great recognition for his artistic talents, particularly after painting The Last Supper. The Last Supper's linear perspective in 1495. Leonardo was commissioned to paint The Last Supper on the wall of a monastery in Milan. Leonardo worked on the painting sporadically. Some days, he labored from sunrise to sunset, while on others, he barely touched his brush. His approach to painting was as methodical as his scientific studies. One of the most remarkable aspects of The Last Supper is Leonardo's use of linear perspective. All the architectural lines in the painting converge at a single vanishing point located behind the head of Jesus, emphasizing the centrality of Christ in the composition. This effect creates an illusion of depth and draws the viewer's eye toward the figure of Jesus. The figures in the painting are grouped in threes, which creates a rhythm and balance throughout the scene. Each apostle reacts emotionally to Jesus' declaration that one of them will betray him, a moment captured in vivid detail by Leonardo's keen observation of human expression and gesture. As we come to the end of this journey into the life of Leonardo da Vinci, one thing becomes clear. His genius wasn't just about his extraordinary skills in painting or his groundbreaking scientific discoveries. It was his insatiable curiosity, his drive to question, explore, and imagine, that made him one of history's most profound minds. His work continues to influence artists, engineers, and scientists today, reminding us that the pursuit of knowledge has no boundaries. Thank you for joining us on TruthQuest. Stay curious, and we'll see you next time.